First off, my name is Harie Robinson Jr. I'm born and raised Athens, Georgia, about 45 minutes to an hour north of House of Fresh. Um, Played ball at Georgia Tech from 93 to 96, football wide receiver. Um, that's how I started to generate my connections in terms of what I'm doing now. So football was kind of the bridge to a lot of the connects and the people that I met along my journey that's bringing me here now. Um, Before I went to entrepreneurship, I worked for Macy's South um, at the store level. Worked in pretty much every position but AGM and GM of those stores out of Athens, Georgia. Then I was promoted to corporate, where I started to do audits for Macy's South. I had about 6 states. So, I was able to see the pricing of Versace merchandise, different brands, Versace, Tom Ford, Givenchy. I was able to see the wholesale cost of what they were selling to the Macy's for. You got to keep in mind, back in the 90s, Macy's had 700 to 800 stores back then, and they were part of Federated. So I was able to see a lot of product, which made me transition from working for Macy's. I resigned from them in '08, right before that mortgage real estate crash back in 2008. And it was an unfortunate crash because I was getting ready to launch my first premium denim jean brand called Rejunio. My jeans were being manufactured out of Vernon, California. So my target market at that time was the premium denim market. That's when denim like Page Premium Denim, Seven, Joe's, People's Liberation denim was selling for anywhere from $250 to $500 a pair. But with the economy crash, no boutiques were gonna spend money on that type denim. So, it kind of forced me to move into more custom. That's when I met Tony Dennis, my brother from another mother, and he started to show me the custom arena of clothing and fashion, which pretty much gave me a whole new direction on how to survive during a time when wasn't nobody really spending money on anything unless you were a celebrity or athlete, or you were already part of a wealthy family, or you had disposable income that you could spend on custom clothes. So, me and Stitch Doctor did a lot of collaborations on, different, that's pretty much how I met Drummer back in 2007, Drummer Boy. And a lot of my pieces were custom pieces. This was at the 2007 BET Hip Hop Awards is when I first met Drum, which is when he was getting his traction with Jeezy and Standing Ovation, Put On, Amazing. I think those are about 3 records that I can think of off top that was on that TM 101. And he saw some of the custom pieces I had and was like, man, yo, how much that cost? I was like, $250. He was like, well, I need about 5 of those. Come by the studio. Let's get it done. So that's how me and Drum, that was our first initial business transaction. And that was the start of a relationship, a brotherhood. So 2023, here we are, 6 years in the House of Fresh, man. And it's a blessing from the creator, but it's a lot of work, for sure. It would influence me with fashion, right, in the younger days. So Jams Originals, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go to jamsworld.com and they'll give you an idea. Jamsworld.com. I used to have those joints. Hawaiian themed shorts, calf sock length, some clean, crispy Stan Smiths, or some Elise, or some Saucony, with a white tee with those. Yeah, Sauconys, yep. Cross colors was definitely influence. My mom had me in all this stuff, man, when I was younger, and I didn't even know what was going on. But as I wore it and started to get a feel for colors and how to put it on, that's the key. You can pretty much wear whatever you want in any price bracket. You can get some stuff from Walmart or Target. As long as you know how to put it together, they ain't gonna know that you paid, $100 for your fit. It's all about how you put it on. Everybody ain't gonna have style, but really it's all about how you feel and how you're comfortable in it. So, those were some of my main brand influences. I couldn't afford them back then, but the Kazals, our culture called them gazelles, but Run DMC pretty much put all of that on the map. The German designer Kazal shades, Adidas took a chance on them back in the day with the El Dorado high top joints and the track suits to match. Shit was epic. But all of those influences pretty much affected me in terms of fashion. I feel that the way fashion is portrayed, people think it's easy, but it takes a lot of work. But the catch 22 is that you got to put in the work in order to get your product out there, and you have to have a plan. It's not just going to be the push of a button, It's going to take some research. You ain't got to go to school for it. I didn't go to school for it. I just self-taught on Photoshop. So I would say it influences our culture in a positive way because it keeps our kids into something constructive versus being out here in the streets just doing willy-nilly shit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it can have more of an impact if we work together as a culture and a community to help young people that want to be in fashion, give them some pointers and some direction on what they should do in order to get their brand up. And I think the kids need to ask more questions versus just spending money and not asking the question that could save them $1,000 to $5,000 on developing a brand. You know what I'm saying? So it affects it in a positive way, and then it also dilutes it when people don't take it seriously and put in the work effort. I would say, because a lot of what I was doing with my own brand at that time, after I resigned from Macy's in good standing, it was formulating a business plan. I wasn't really going to see the traction that I envisioned unless I did a business plan and leveraged my credit to get up the right starting capital to actually buy the product, market the product, and move the product around to different cities so people could see it. That's when I was starting to get traction. But it required me to do a business plan, like a 10 to 20 page business plan. And that required me to put together my mission to really map out what my demographic was, my target market, SWOT analysis, the strengths of my brand, the weaknesses of my brand, the opportunities for the brand, and the threats, because the threats would be considered what just happened a couple of years ago, COVID. If you ain't got no business plan and know that any type of natural disaster or shift in the market or economy can affect how your product moves, you need to be ready for that, financial projections of what you project the business to do in a 3 to 5 year period, which now 5 years could really go to 10 years. Because you really don't get an idea of what a business can generate. Of course, after 5 years, before it to really settle in, you need to try and make it to 10, But you need those financial projections in your business plan. I utilized that along with good credit to start my company, and I was able to have marketing dollars because I feel like if we don't see our vision or dreams through, then we'll never see what the final result will be. The final manifestation of you staying 10 toes down, you're only good as the people around you, right? I think the greatest thing is to see the independent designers, the ones that I work with, Rich High Brand. A lot of people don't know about it, but people in the A that know Guap, he started from the ground up with it and has been doing well with it, but his brand is Rich High Brand. So it's good to see him. And like I said, Get Fit With It with Walter Ramirez. These are brands I'm talking about from the dirt up that are starting to get traction. Okay, somebody spend a stack 2,500, $5,000 with me just for my time to show them how to do a brand, and then it takes off. Shit, that's the highlight. You know what I'm saying? I've been working with Dominique Fondon, has been putting a lot of the base together. Of course, I want to bring you on with it as well as we continue to build it. Some things require patience, and you'll know from God when it's time to drop it. But hopefully in May sometime, I'll drop the first episode with drama. But Chop Talk with Harie is going to be uncut and raw. So the topics of focus is definitely going to be spirituality. I don't think we talk about it enough amongst brothers and sisters. I mean, some people, it's like you said earlier, some people just are intimidated by church and how it's delivered. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it needs to be talked about on a platform like this, you know, so people can kind of relate to it better. So spirituality, currency, and that's what chop is to me. You know, if anybody that know me, they know I call money chop. That's why we say Chop Talk with Harie. I'm working on a private label brand called Joa. And that's going to be, it's an acronym for Jack of All Hustles. So the goal for this brand is to be more simplistic, but quality fabrics, you know, a lot of tactical pockets, hidden pockets, but very clean. Track pants, track suits, like a three or four piece versatile rotating set. So you got your t-shirt, you got your zip track jacket, you got your track pants, you got your shorts, but they're all in basic colors. Not a lot of dragons and, you know, no logos, graphics, more quotes, you know, quotes from hustlers, but hustlers that are hustling the right way. You know what I'm saying? It'll have a spiritual piece to it because in the Bible, you know, you have Joah. Its meaning, its biblical meaning is brother of God. So, you know, I'm mixing all that together. So you're going to have spiritual pieces, limited drops with Joah, and then you're going to have the everyday attire for the hustle, you know, for the everyday hustler. You know, because I really there was no influences for me, you know, there was no peer pressure for me when I was 12 years old. From middle school, elementary, middle school, all the way to high school. I ain't deal with no peer pressure because I was solo dolo. You know, an introvert to the highest level. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it wasn't too much that could penetrate the barrier. But I would have to tell myself, man, you got to be careful who you around, man. You know, and to stay focused, you know, stay focused on whatever it is you got going on. If it's sports, academics, it's your dreams, your creativity, stay focused on it. Because everybody ain't gonna pat you on the back and tell you, good job, Harie, keep going. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pat your own back. Growing up where I grew up, Iron Triangle on the east side of Athens, there was opportunities to definitely get into a lot of shit, man. And there's a lot of cats, you know, from my hood that didn't make it. I'm 48, man. As of April 9th, there's a lot of cats from my neighborhood, on my block, and my street did not make it to 40. You know what I'm saying? 30. You got to be prepared to work. I'm talking about around the clock. Then when I say around the clock, it ain't 24/7, 24/9, but you got to set aside some time every day to work towards your goal with your clothing brand. You can catch me at HouseOfFresh_Harie, HouseOfFreshATL, www.houseoffresh.online. We've got a brand development link on there. Stay tuned for Chop Talk with Harie podcast coming soon. JoelHustle.com is coming soon. We are brick and mortar in West Midtown, Atlanta, located at 1770 Howell Mill Road, Atlanta, Georgia, 30318. Stay tuned for the food trucks that we're about to have on this location. If I can find somebody that's consistent, ready to work, and ready to get some money. We're not charging, by the way. And shout out to Deepino.com for taking time out to come interview me, because I'm pretty much a behind the scenes type of guy. So now you know, via Deepino.com. We live. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Yes, sir.